Well, hello, KingdomPreneurs. How are you today? It is day 4 of our 30 days of pulling energy to create the space for the desires that you have. Okay, 30 days of pulling energy to create the space for your desires. And today I want to pick up off of where we left off yesterday. And yesterday we were talking about receiving and what does it mean to receive and how to pull the energy to become a receptor of receiving, correct? But today I wanted to push it a little further and take it a little more, a step further. And I want to talk about the judgments of, of that people have or conclusions that people make of us and the conclusions we make of ourselves and the judgments we make of ourselves. So day 4, we're going to be talking about receiving judgments and conclusions to create your future. And this is very important because yesterday we spoke about, sometimes when you want something so much that you actually step into a space and you, instead of creating the space to pull the energy towards you of what you desire or require, there's an old English word or definition of wanting as of lack and laughing at. And so you find yourself that when you become anxious about something that you want to create, something that you want to receive, and then when it looks like it's not happening in your life, you create a space of negativity, and your core congruent vibration and frequency, the energy of that is a negative one, and that's what you're creating more of, and that's more of what's coming towards you as opposed to the other way around. What is causing that is that you are making judgments of yourself, conclusions of yourself, or judgments and conclusions of other people. But what if you can learn how to receive judgments and conclusions, whether they're coming from yourself, based on thought patterns that you have or limiting beliefs that you have about yourself, and also other people's point of view that you might be carrying around, because not everything that you think about yourself is what you actually think about yourself. It's somebody else's thoughts and processes that have been transferred to you, and you've picked it up, you've picked up on the energy of it, and you've taken it in. For instance, when we talk about receiving judgments, somebody, because most of us in this space want to be and are entrepreneurs. See, even I do it sometimes, that you are an entrepreneur. And creative entrepreneurs a lot of times have a lot of issues with self-worth and self-esteem. So what if somebody is saying to you in a judgment, and they're saying to you and drawing a conclusion that, wait a minute, you can't be a successful entrepreneur. And mostly it comes from people that we know very well. It could be a family member, it could be your husband, your wife, it could be a sibling, or a best friend. But somebody is speaking in your space and they're saying to you, you know what? Their judgment and conclusion is that you don't have what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. You don't have what it takes to earn a living by creating products or services and selling them online, or a brick and mortar type business. Their judgment and conclusion is, that's not possible. You can't do that. You can't make a living. Why don't you just be real and get a 9-to-5 job like everybody else, and do what everybody else is doing? And what I'm trying to teach you here is, instead of putting up a block to that judgment and conclusion that's been made by somebody else or by yourself, of yourself, why don't you take another view from this perspective? Why don't you take a look and say, okay, maybe in ordinary circumstances that's true. Because when you come in agreement with it, because when you start to defend yourself and put up blocks, you're already pulling energy. It's negative energy that you're pulling towards you. You don't want to get into the pull of that negative energy towards you. What you want to do is stay in a space of openness and allow. Remember, we spoke about becoming a receptor of receiving. And receiving the judgment or conclusion here doesn't mean alignment or agreement per se, because there could be a level of truth to what they're saying. But when you keep yourself in that open space where you haven't put up a block and you're not trying to defend yourself, opposed to somebody else's opinion or your own, but instead you put yourself in a state of awareness and you become mindful about what you're looking at, about what the judgment that is being made, the conclusion that is being drawn. And instead you become mindful, and in that mindful state, you're more like an observer. And in that position as an observer, what you're able to do is you're able to say to yourself or to that judgment or conclusion that is coming from someone else, you're able to say, thank you, because this was something that I needed to hear or something that I needed to know so that I can make a shift in some way, okay? So instead of putting up roadblocks or putting up a wall to those judgments and conclusions, instead consider it, receive the judgment and the conclusion as an awareness. Create a space of awareness that you carry around with you all the time, so that when something comes your way, you're not reacting or putting up restraints or trying to becoming defensive and defending yourself. You're simply saying, wait a minute, maybe this is something that I needed to be made aware of. And then, as opposed to it being a negativity, you can receive it as a contribution of awareness that you needed to become mindful of. You're looking at it as an objective observer. And so now you're able to shift it. You can receive that energy now that is coming at you. You can receive that judgment and that conclusion. You can receive it, bring it through yourself and release it and let it go. And so this is what I want you to do right now. I want you to focus on some judgment or conclusion that has really been in the last week or two, or if you have to go back a little further, but find one that you're still carrying around as a negative energy. Instead, now I want you to look at it. Remember, we spoke about yesterday that everything, because everything is energy, that judgment or that conclusion is simply just a negative. Is simply a negative that's been spoken, but I don't want you to take a hold of the negative. Instead, receive it as a substance of awareness, and take that substance of awareness of that judgment and that conclusion that in any other form without these tools or strategies would be negative. Take it and take that substance, focus on it now. This is what I want you to do. And this is a part of an energy pull as well. But today we're going to do it as an energy ball. And what I want you to do is take your two hands and put them up like this. And I want you to focus. I want you to take the substance, okay, of that point of view, that judgment or that conclusion or that determination that has been brought to your attention. Because you're grateful for it now, you're grateful for the awareness of it. Take that awareness, focus on the substance of what you have been made aware of, whatever it is, you know what it is. And I want you just to put it in place here, right between your two hands. Wow, I can feel that. And feel the energy of it. You know, a light awareness just came to me to say also, some of you are going to have judgments coming towards you that haven't come yet. And so this is going to be a tool that you will be able to use. Remember, when the judgment comes, don't put up a wall of resistance. Just stay in a state of calmness and listen to it. Listen to what's being said. Put yourself in that mindful space. Become an observer of what is being said, the judgment or conclusion that's being made. Receive it as a contribution to your life that you needed to be made aware of. And when you take it as an awareness that was necessary for you to know, you've received it that way, Now you can now take it and put it into this energy ball where you can focus on it. And as you're focusing on it, just say, and stay in that mindful space as you're doing this and feeling the energy of it, and just become an observer of that focus. Mindful focus energy. And in that state of awareness, begin to ask yourself, well, what other opportunities and possibilities are in play that are available to me now that this judgment and this conclusion has been brought to me. And I want you to feel it's light now. It's not heavy. And just keep doing your hands like this because you're keeping the energy of it moving. And I'm telling you, you're going to absolutely feel a lightness that comes around that. Because now what you've done, you've learned to create a space to receive everything that could come to you that's whether good or negative. You now know how to frame it and put it into a space of mindful observation, energetically, focus on it, and then ask the question. First, be thankful, and then say, what opportunities or other possibilities are available for me and this situation that I can step into, and just allow yourself in that state of mindfulness, energetic, and feel the lightness of it, and allow it to come to you. This is our tool for today. And so I want to thank you, and I want to remind you again, as we're going through this, at the end of these 30 days, we're going to go a little deeper. In May, I will be holding a class. It's on my website, Satella DeVeaux, SatellaDeVeaux.com. You can go there and check it out. And you can also find me on Facebook at KingdomPreneur, Alchemy of Entrepreneurship and Wealth. But I'll have all of that posted here as well. If you like the video, like and subscribe to it. Okay? And I'll see you tomorrow, where we're going to talk a little bit more about receiving and judgments, because this is very important. Learning how to receive these judgments will allow you to move forward in the things that you need to do. I'll see you tomorrow, and I hope this was a contribution to you. Good night, Kingdompreneurs.